You know, to me, kings is people that got up a lot. That's what a king is, man. You know, somebody that got up on the trains or all city. You know, if you was gonna do walls and stuff, it really didn't count. It only counted if you did a lot, you know, back in the days, you know. So if you was gonna do street tagging and all that stuff, and you was a king, that means you got up all city. You was up everywhere. People like FET 56, Band 2, you know. One of the guys, man, that I gotta say was a true king, man, was this guy behind me, Blade. He killed it. He killed it. He's done more whole cars than anybody. And that's a given, man, you know. I don't give much props to people, man, but I do give props when it's due. And he's one of the guys that I give props to and I look up to, you know. But to me, like, that's what king means. Kings mean being up all over the place, you know. Blade, you know, 2s and 5s, he was killing it, man. He was killing it with the whole cars, end to end, top to bottoms, you name it, man. And he come out with these crazy, I mean, his style was simple. Don't get me wrong, his style was simple. And he did a lot of it. He did a lot, and everything was always different. He always had a different concept. And see, I look up to that because that's what I try to do. I try to always have like a different concept. I don't do the same style over and over and over. I do different styles. I do different things, man. I try to do new things, old things. You know, sometimes I go back and start from scratch and go in a different direction with my style. You know, that's just how it is. You see my work. You see I do 3D, straight, you name it, I do it. You know, and it's because that's what graffiti is all about. It's about expressing yourself, and for me, you know, it's about keeping up and just letting people know that this is art, not a crime.
I did the New York City scene from 1970 to 1972. Started studio painting in 1972, and here we are, 2010. So it was pretty much an answer to the times we were living. There was a lot happening in the city at that time. This is the answer, man. You know, writing your name, making a statement, breaking the law. To become a king, there was criteria in the writers' movement, in the culture. It was how many times you got up, style, neatness. That's what made you a king. And it's not like you made yourself a king, although that's sort of like, you did make yourself a king, but other writers made you a king, you know, after you made your mark.
Started writing in 1978, late December, right around Christmas. Matter of fact, I was with Blade and Maze, who I started writing out with. My neighborhood, the actual block I lived on, was the Crazy Five. A kid coming over, an Italian and Jewish neighborhood, had no idea about graffiti. And a friend of mine, Maze, who was my best friend, introduced me to the graffiti world, and Maze is Dolores' sister. Dolores at that time was with Blade, and eventually I started writing with those guys. That was the neighborhood and school, that was the main thing. And eventually hit the trains, and people in the neighborhood saw your name on the trains, and then eventually the trains I rode on were the 2s and 5s. They went from Bronx to Brooklyn, so obviously your name started circling around in there, and then growing from that line, it just eventually spread to other lines. But I stuck to the 2s and 5s, and not a king, but was known on those lines.
My name is Blade, from the original Crazy Five. I started in 1972, born January 23rd, 1957. Myself, Death, Karachi, Vam, and Tall 13 represented the original Crazy Five, who all came from the Peroxide Projects in the middle late 50s when we were born. And I've painted over 5,000 trains since 1972 through 1984. Originally, we went to the 4s, Broadway, which is the 1s and 3s, and some on the 6s, and of course other lines, which average out to about 500 trains a year for 10 years, from 72 to 82. And after Comet and I had gotten to that point as a 6th member of the Crazy Five, we actually just stopped counting. We started out bombing in 72 when I was the end. We were just doing red trains, we were just doing singlets on trains, which in the 80s they began to call tags or tagging. and actual pieces on trains didn't become full-blown until the summer of '72, when I did my first masterpiece on a 3rd Avenue L train that ran on the 5 line with Pro 2, who is now a congressman, but that's the first train I ever painted. At Pro 2 and JJS 225 from Eden Wall project, 1974. This Staff 161 train went by. He invented the Ebony Dukes and the Grim Reaper and the hand coming through the, from the headstone was absolutely the most phenomenal thing I ever saw.
People should look to graffiti because it's a different art form, like I said before. I mean, you can go to museums and go to different museums and see different artists, and it's something that you just saw and something from 50 years ago, and he was influenced by that, and this was this, and this was that. And this, you can see there was no influence from it because it's a completely different thing that's only been around 16 years tops.
He's doing this with a level. I mean, this is amazing, because that should be on tape.
Yeah, it's straight then. Since you took my drink.
Well, you keep pouring it in your glass.
Well, your glass seems pretty full.
I know, but my glass looks lighter. You see the difference?
That's God's will.
That's Comet's piece. That was a brand new train when he was doing the two-in-alls. Somewhere's the train of the first piece I ever did after taking a hit of acid. I only did acid once in my life. That's the Comet side of it. Those are the only 2 brand new trains in the tunnel, and when the train was new, no matter how many people painted, you could only smell the smell of the train being brand new, silver with the blue stripe. This is maybe 3 to 5 cars in from the station, and I'm really on acid, scared to death because, everything is going, and I'm just like, wow, man, I can't pass this up. You gotta do it, and Wood is like, it's a setup, it's a setup, it's a setup. And I'm like, you gotta do it. And I did a black piece, Rust-Oleum gloss black, on a silver train in Esplanade. I mean, I swear on my car glaze, no crossing fingers or toes. And when you spray paint in black, yes, you can see that. I even swear on that. 1 second. That one will hurt for days. That. When you spray paint on a silver train with gloss black on a brand new train, as you paint, you see your own reflection like a mirror.
You're painting yourself.
You're painting yourself
you paint,
as a reflection
the more you
yourself,
see.
because you're using gloss black on a brand new silver train. I think that was like one of the best nights of my life. And of course, Comet was just like this because he's on doing all, so he's stumbling and fumbling around. I was like, anything happened, I was going to be licking his split corn.